Good morning from these beautiful green mountains. The meeting will come to order. The thought of the day will be given by Madame Reporter.
Coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. A quote by Henry Ford. And I think this is really important to remember because I'm just glad that we're all here together in this strange time, despite a virtual conference. Madame President.
The emblem is symbolic of the SkillsUSA organization. You are about to witness the emblem ceremony, in which the meaning of each component of our emblem will be given and the significance of color described. Madame Parliamentarian.
The shield represents patriotism. The shield denotes our belief in democracy, liberty, and the American way of life. Madame Reporter.
The gear represents the industrial society. The gear, symbolic of the industrial society, denotes the interdependence and cooperation of the individual working with labor and management for the betterment of mankind. Mr. Treasurer.
The torch represents knowledge. The flaming torch reflects the light of knowledge, which dispels the darkness of ignorance. In the light of the torch, progress will be made towards the vocational goals of the individual. Mr. Secretary.
The orbital circle represents technology. The circle represents the challenge of modern technology and the training needed to accept and master new technical frontiers and the need for continuous education. Madame Vice President.
The hands represent the individual. The hands portray a search for knowledge and our desire to acquire a skill. In the process of attaining knowledge and skill, we will develop a respect for the dignity of work and become productive and responsible citizens. With the affixing of the golden hands, we add the final official color of SkillsUSA. The colors of the emblem represent our organization. Red and white represent the individual states and chapters. Blue represents the common union of the states and the chapters. And gold represents the individual, the most important element of SkillsUSA. Madame President.
All of the components constitute our emblem. Separately, they could be applied to many organizations. But as one unit, they represent the fundamental principles and purpose of our organization. The emblem represents SkillsUSA. We will respect the flag of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, will you record any members present so we may begin business?
We will now feature a short video introduction from each of our active SkillsUSA chapters. Madame.
Shine under pressure. It's time to fire on up. It's time to fire on up, yeah. Pound on your chest like there's no tomorrow. Just play the game right, no one can follow. Oh, it's time to fire on up. Oh, it's time to fire on up.
Welcome to North Country Career Center.
This year, we have 5 contestants, 1 state officer, and 3 advisors attending.
With the help of our community, we were able to donate over $5,000 worth of diapers and bags of love that were filled with blankets and personal care items to DCF.
With these life skills we learned, we were able to help and give back to the community, all while working together with one another.
Skills USA!
Good morning, SkillsUSA Vermont. We are the SkillsUSA chapter from the River Valley Technical Center in Springfield. Our center is located in the heart of Precision Valley, and we serve students from 17 towns and 4 high schools in both New Hampshire and Vermont. Our chapter has 17 students and 4 advisors participating in this conference. Good luck to all the competitors, and we'll see you at the awards podium. Technical Center with 65 students and 13 advisors.
Hello, we are from the Wyndham Regional Career Center. We are excited to be participating in this year's SkillsUSA Spring Leadership and Skills Conference and Competitions. We have 11 students and 4 advisors attending this year. Please enjoy the rest of your day and competition.
Hey! Good morning, SkillsUSA Vermont. I would like to officially welcome you to the SkillsUSA Vermont 2020 to 2021 Spring Leadership and Skills Conference. How exciting is this? My name is Becca Davis, SkillsUSA Vermont's president. I'm a senior at Center for Technology, Essex. My interest of study is dental assisting. My intentions after high school is to take a gap year, work, and take CCV classes. I plan to apply to colleges for 2020 or 2022 school year, focusing on a major in vet technology. As you all are aware, this year has been like no other. This past year has handed us numbers of challenges, such as going from in-person school to online, not being able to see family members or friends, participating in activities and sports, and some of us losing a loved one. The past year, we have struggled with different forms of stress. This can cause serious emotional and mental health issues. However, throughout all of these challenges, each of you sitting before me are truly demonstrating the conviction behind SkillsUSA 2021 national theme, SkillsUSA Champions at Work, Empowered to Succeed. You are at this conference to compete or to support or to judge knowledge and skill. And by doing all of this, you will empower yourself and empower every person around you. I wish each competitor the best of luck in your competitions. I want to thank you all for all of our advisors for their outgoing support and encouragement. I look forward to seeing you throughout the week and at our closing ceremony on Thursday night. Have fun. You are at this It is now my pleasure to introduce our Executive State Director of SkillsUSA Vermont, Mr. Christopher Gray.
Good morning, SkillsUSA. I am so excited to see so many different screen names and so many different questions popping up on the chat. This is awesome. I am ecstatic that so many of you have chosen to take part in this conference, even in these quite different circumstances. As Becca just said, my name is Christopher Gray, and I'm the Executive Director for SkillsUSA Vermont. My role today is really mostly behind the scenes. However, this is my one opportunity to talk to you and to kind of give you some information about the organization that you are all a part of. Even though this year has been difficult as far as the COVID-19 pandemic, you, as members of SkillsUSA, have risen to a challenge beyond what most high school students are asked to do. There are 483 new members of SkillsUSA Vermont this year alone. That's an increase of about 50% of what we had in the fall of 2020. So thank you for all of you that have chosen to become members of this organization. Of that 483, 398 of you are students. Above and beyond everything else, SkillsUSA is a student career and technical organization. It's for you and it is by you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank 5 outstanding students who have been leading this organization for the past year. As you've just met, our president, Becca Davis, she is a senior at the CTE Center in Essex studying in dental assisting, and her advisor is Beth Ladd. Our parliamentarian is Jean Kader, and she is a health career student from North Country Career Center, and her advisor is Celine Champagne. Our secretary is Quinlan Moore. He is a junior auto service technology student from the Center for Technology in Essex, and his advisor is Gary Swan. Our treasurer is Mr. Keegan Desjardins, and he is a media and digital arts student at the Central Vermont Career Center in Bury, and his advisor is Matthew Bigeneau. And last but definitely not least, our reporter this year is Miss Alicia Caputo, and she is an engineering and STEM student from the Stafford Technical Center in Rutland, and her advisor is Mr. Guy Batt. In addition to those 5 outstanding young adults, I also have 3 indispensable faculty and staff members who help run this organization. And it is absolutely true that without these 3 other people, there would be no SkillsUSA Vermont this year. My assistant director, Linda Randall, is a human services teacher from Burlington Technical Center in Burlington. She's been associated with SkillsUSA Vermont for more than 20 years. Our competition coordinator, media specialist, and internet guru is Mr. Matthew Bigeneau, and he is the media and digital arts teacher at the Central Vermont Career Center in Bury, and he's been associated with SkillsUSA Vermont for almost 9 years. And finally, our scholarship and prize coordinator is Miss Celine Champagne, and she is a health careers teacher from North Country Career Center in Newport, Vermont, and she's been associated with SkillsUSA Vermont for more than a decade. My association with this organization, believe it or not, goes all the way back to 1985, long before most of you were even born. Back then, this organization was called VICA, and it stood for the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. We transitioned to SkillsUSA in the mid-2000s and have been under that moniker for the last 15 years. Just a little hint there, if you haven't already taken your SkillsUSA knowledge test, that's one of the questions. VICA started in 1965. So this is our 56th year as an organization, which I think is pretty amazing. Nationally, we have more than 400,000 members. And in June, those of you who earn one of these this week are going to be given the opportunity to participate in our national SkillsUSA Leadership and Skills Conference. Yes, it will be virtual, but it'll also be an awesome time for you to get to know other people from all other 50 states, as well as demonstrate your skills against the best of the best in the country. And that's what you're going to do over the next 3 days here in Vermont. SkillsUSA Vermont allows our students to challenge themselves against national standards in more than 35 different skill and leadership competitions. This year, we have more than 232 competitors, 160 students, 34 advisors, and 4 participants at this conference alone. And I think in the middle of a pandemic, that is an awesome set of statistics. Some of you will be getting some of these at the end of Thursday night as well. And these are the banners that will fly in your school recognizing your achievements as SkillsUSA gold medalists. Right now, you're going to get an opportunity to participate in one of the first SkillsUSA competitions of the 2020-2021 competition season. This is the pin and t-shirt design, and pin and t-shirt design is an individual event where students design the pin that we're going to be using at our national conference in June. Those pin designs will be presented as well as the t-shirt designs, and each one of you as members will have the opportunity to vote on the one that you think best suits the state of Vermont and the organization SkillsUSA Vermont. In addition to voting, these competitors will also be judged on how well they present their pin or their t-shirt to judges later on in the competition. But right now, sit back and enjoy looking at some really terrific digital media art that's been put together by students from all over the state of Vermont. Have a great conference.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Our speaker today has not let the pandemic stop him from seeing the good over the year. In the last decade, Joe Fingerhut has been on stages at conferences and leadership events over 25 states across America, and as far as Japan and Malaysia. Since March of 2020, his travel has taken place virtually at his home in St. Louis, Missouri. This schedule gives him more time with his children on the trampoline and making fun unicycle videos. As a speaker and an author, Joe Fingerhut has inspired over 200 100,000 people at leadership conference, school assemblies, and even events across the United States and around the world. Joe's first book, Permission to Play, about overcoming excuses and pursuing your dreams. It is in stores and on Amazon. Until we see each other in person at a conference, Joe is excited to join us from his home studio. Press play and please welcome Joe Fingerhut.
Sure. All right. Good morning, Vermont Skills USA. Welcome to this state leadership conference. I want to get the chat blowing up right away. And I have the chat over here. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to be asking questions. I'm going to get your input. And if I'm not looking straight at the camera, I am looking at your interactions. So I want to just start off. I want you to type in either "Hi Joe" in the chat, or I want you to type in the town or city where you are tuning in from, because I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I know about 2 places in Vermont, and I want to see where people are coming in from and where you are tuning in. Now, you guys are on Eastern time, so right now I'm waking up my kids and my wife because they have today off. Our school has today off, and I couldn't be more excited to kick off the State Leadership Conference. All right, I want to see in the chat once again where you are tuning in from, as far as what cities. And I also want to give a huge thank you to everybody behind the scenes have been working hard to put this on. All right, so we got Chelsea, Vermont. We got a whole bunch of people in. I know there's like 150 to 200 people on here. So you all are a part of something that has never been done before here. We got Poultney, Linden Institute, fantastic. Let's see, Barre, not sure how to say that, Bar, all right. Finnegan, we missed you, Joe. Finnegan, I missed you too. All right. So I am so excited to be here, and I want to acknowledge you all for being on the path that you're on. I learned about Skills USA a couple of years ago when I was the speaker at the state conference in Georgia. And at that point, it was my biggest audience ever. It was 3,000 people. And the thing that stuck with me the most, I come in and I did the keynote, and now I'm seeing it. All right, CVCC, we got Hyde Park, got people, Springfield, all over Vermont. This is great. I feel like I'm going on a tour of Vermont right now from my home here in St. Louis. But the thing that stuck out about Skills USA, I didn't grow up in this world, and I am in awe of everything that you all do, the skills that you are building, the path that you are on, and the group of people that you're putting yourselves in. It is absolutely incredible. And at this conference, I do the keynote, and I was planning the next day just, leaving because I'd done my job. And somebody's like, well, do you want to go see the exhibition floor tomorrow? And I was like, sure. What is that? And they're like, well, it's over there in the next building. Just show up tomorrow. And the next morning I go in, and it is a football field size of just exhibits and booths. And it was blowing my mind because for me, in my mind, extracurriculars in high school meant sports and theater and student government. And now I'm walking through, I'm seeing this group of people, this group of kids, this group of teen leaders like you all building race car engines and having exhibits on cutting sheet metal and just doing incredible things. And since then, my respect and my awe of your skills has grown. So thank you for being here. And we're going to have some fun and kick off this amazing conference. I want your participation. This isn't about just sitting around. Joe's going to talk. I'm going to listen. So I want you to get your fingers ready now. In a conference room, in a theater, in a gymnasium, in a stadium, whatever, speakers rely on the interactions. I can see your faces. I can see your smiles. I can see you nodding. We don't really have that. So we're going to go with exclamation points this morning. So pack the chat right now with exclamation points. All right. Pack the chat. There's 150, 200 people involved in this conference. I want to see who is out there today. So anytime that you want to laugh today,
anytime that you want to cheer, anytime that you want to do anything, if you can type in something, great. But if you don't just want to like express your emotion, put in your exclamation points. And we're just going to get that chat just running up. There's been a whole bunch of people that have participated so far. Sarah says, I like your cut. Right. Well, this is my COVID cut. A lot of people, when the pandemic hit, they just let their hair grow. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go the other way. So, you know, I have all these old pictures and videos and I got hair and I love to see it. But, you know, my kids like it. So it's kind of cool. I'm going with it. So we're going to get started now. If you saw me in December, we presented at the Fall Leadership Conference. It was an amazing experience. It was a little bit shorter. It was about 2 or 3 hours on a half day. This is kicking off a 4-day experience. I'm saying hi to Peyton and Carson and Grace and Clifton and Connor, somebody named Blue Christensen. If that's really your first name, that's awesome. All right. Lydia, Paula, Cole, Christina, lots of exclamation points. Blue put the baby in his exclamation points. I like that. All right, good. Clifton's back, Jeremy. All right, I love it. I love this participation. That's what we want this week. We want to kick it off with you guys being involved. Yes, this is a virtual event. You're probably in front of a computer. Oh, by the way, this is what I wanted to do. Not only, I mentioned your cities before, your school. I actually want to see and hear whose classroom you're in. So if you would, let me know if you're in like Mr. Gray's tech classroom. I'd like you to type that now. I want to shout out some teachers and I want to shout out some classrooms. All yes, Elias, I've been reading the chat. This is an interactive thing. All right. And there's the first mention of Pogs. That's fantastic. I was waiting for that. That was a fun thing with the December one too. So here we go. Whose classroom are you in? I want to see that. I'm going to announce those and read those. But I also want to just review the main mindset message that I always go over when I'm speaking and when I'm presenting to teen leaders. All right, Mr. B. Mr. B is a very popular classroom this morning. Hopwood, Mrs. McCritchie. Yep. All right. Andrew's at home on the sofa. Andrew, I am happy you are here. I figured some people would be home. All right. Christina Courier's class in cosmetology. Fantastic. All right. So the big message that I focus on when I'm speaking to teen leaders, whether I'm speaking to adults, college students, career people, is just mindset. All right. And what I mean by that, we got really into it in December. I'm just going to go do a quick summary now because a lot of you were there. But we all have excuses. And it's really easy to have excuses in this time, in the pandemic. We have a lot of limitations. And it's easier than ever to focus on, I can't do that. I'm not tech savvy. I'm kind of shy. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough time. And all those excuses can be summed up in 2 words. And this is what we talked about in December. We're going to just review real quick. Those 2 words are I can't. And those 2 words will cripple your success. They will guarantee your failure. And as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So with this week, I want to review and embed this mindset in you that's going to help you not only this week, but going forward. And I want you to erase those 2 words from your vocabulary. Take out I can't, replace them with a simple question. And I'm going to have you type this in the chat right now. How can I? Easy 3 words. How can I? I want to see dozens and dozens of how can I's in the chat right now. Go ahead, put how can I in the chat. Put how can I in the chat. We're going to fill the chat, get that burning up. And then throughout the speech today, in the next couple minutes, I'm going to have you type that in. How can I? Here's what this mindset has allowed me to do. Have opportunities. When I grew up, there it is. It's coming on now. Finnegan, Celine, Grace, yes, Wyatt, Sarah, Elias, Connor, Maxwell, We have a celebrity in the house, everybody. DaBaby is actually in the chat. This is amazing. Julia, Lydia, Wyatt, right, Elias. Is it Tika? All right. I love this. I love this. Good to see everybody participating. Here's what this mindset allowed. I grew up very ordinary life. I felt like it was just, man, I'm so normal. Like I want to have extraordinary experiences. I am one of 4 kids. I have an older sister, a younger brother, younger sister. We weren't like this big jet setting family going on crazy vacations and everything. All right. We took road trips, love road trips, and they got to explore a little bit. My parents built this appreciation for travel, but it was more just, kind of around the Midwest. But I wanted to expand my horizon. I was like, how can I experience living in another place? So I went to college in Chicago, went to Loyola University, Chicago. But at the end of college, I was like, man, have I missed out? Because after college, you get a job, you get a life, you got bills and stuff. And I was like, I want to see more of the world. How can I? What was the question that I asked? Put it in the chat. I want to see how can I over and over. How can I? And so I started finding answers. I started doing research. I started reaching out and connecting with people. And I was able to make amazing things happen. In the 8 years after college, I went to 30 countries on 6 continents. And at first, my parents were absolutely freaking out. The first trip, I bought a plane ticket, I backpacked, I flew to Europe. I backpacked around for 2 months on my own. I hadn't known anybody, didn't do much research, but it opened up my mind to a world that was out there. And then after I ran out of money, came back home, I was like, man, how can I continue that experience? I ended up teaching English in Japan. And I taught English in Japan for 3 years. That is where I met my wife. That's where I started the next step of the journey, because I started really focusing on what makes me happy. My dad worked at the post office on computers for like 30 years. And my dad was an incredible dad. He was our coach. He was always there, but he was stressed about his job. And I was just like, I want to look forward to what I do for a living. So that helped me get into being in front of people, performing, speaking like this, and meeting amazing people like you all. And that leads us to now. So I get to be here with you, and I still get to travel. And that brings me to my first big lesson that I want to make sure I share with you all today. And I am loving this participation in the chat. We got a whole bunch of people chiming in, typing, how can I? I love it. So speaking of, this is my family. I love this with virtual. I can just kind of insert myself into the car. This is on our trip last week. So my wife is Michio. She was born in Kumamoto, Japan. It's about a 2-hour flight south of Tokyo. My son, Hiroki, he is 13. He's in 7th grade. And then my daughter, Amane, is right here. And she's in 4th grade. She's turning 10 next week. Now, a little bit of an update on my family. In the intro, Becca mentioned unicycle videos. And I told you all about that in the December conference. And what we did at the beginning of last year in March, when the pandemic hit, we talked about our opportunities. What are our opportunities? Well, we started riding unicycles. So I can ride a unicycle. My kids learned, we worked on it every day. And my wife has known since she was in like 3rd grade in Japan. So all 4 of us got to be riding unicycles. We made these family videos going around St. Louis in front of the landmarks and stuff. And we also did one where we visit every school in our district. This was during the pandemic. Very safe activity, unicycling in front of schools and landmarks. And then made the videos. And it just was able to connect with people. We found a way to connect with our community. And follow up to that, there's this TV station with the PBS affiliate in St. Louis, the 9 Network. They have this show called Living St. Louis. They got word of the videos. They actually interviewed us and did a feature on our unicycle project. And that feature ended up being in the top 5 most uplifting videos of 2020. So you can find those on YouTube. I have to go and look, Finger Hut, Unicycle Family. And what that did was gave us a chance to take an opportunity of a crazy time. This has been a hard year for all of us. And I want to salute you all for getting through it. I mean, we're not through it yet, but we've made a lot of progress, and it's allowed us to have opportunities like this. We're at a state conference. You are at a state conference, SkillsUSA event, with the opportunity to move on and go to the national conference. This is an opportunity that you may not have had in a regular year, but it's opportunities like these that people have made happen, that we've been allowed to keep on going. Oh, I love it. So in the chat, there is a YouTube video. Don't log off and see those right now. Just when you have a moment. It's only 2 or 3 minutes. But I want to share a story from traveling that relates directly to what we're going through this week. My son, who is 13, back when he was 5, remember how you're young and like your heroes are like superheroes or comic book characters or people you see on TV, right? So my son, my wife had my son watch lots of Japanese programs. And my son liked this character called Kamen Rider. Not common like the rapper, common as in ramen, like Kamen, Kamen Rider. And he loved this. And we, before 2020, every summer we were going to Japan. We'd go to Japan for a couple weeks. My kids would attend school. But when they were young, we didn't do school. So we would just go around and see the sights and stuff. There was an event where Kamen Rider was going to be in person. And so we go to a mall, and I'll tell you, this is what Kamen Rider looks like right here. Okay. Think, what are they called? The Power Ranger type characters. Those are very popular in Japan. So here's what happened. We go, it's an event at a mall. They're doing a promotion, and there's a crowd, and it's a live action promotion. So they got Kamen Rider. It's like a mascot, right? And then they got a host here, as you can see. In Japan, there's a cultural mindset. And I had to deal with this when I was training to be a teacher. They explained to all of us Americans, all of us foreigners, all of us English speakers, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered down. And how that plays into a classroom, you could ask the most benign question like, what country are we in? And the kids would just, because they don't want to stick out. So as a teacher, we had to split everybody up into groups to boost participation. So now it's a group setting. We're at this mall. It's a promotion. And I can sense they're going to ask for a volunteer. So here's what I did. I leaned over to my son and pay attention to what I say. I said, raise both hands. I'd like you to type that in the chat if you can hear me. Raise both hands. I want to see that in the chat right now. I said, raise both hands. I encouraged him to show energy, to stand up, and to show that he wanted to be called on. And now we're in a mall. There's a bunch of people in the audience. I encourage my son, raise both hands. And what do you know? My son gets called on. Celine says, raise both hands. Yes, raise both hands. Elias, right? Hands. The baby's raising his hands. Excellent. You raise both hands. Braden, Julia, Jeremy. Blue is back. Paul's got the emojis. Great. Sarah, Susan, Wyatt, Tika, Hannah, Paul, Natasha, Logan. Everybody's raising hands. This is awesome. Raise both hands. So that's what my son did. And he gets to go on stage. And he's excited. Of course, he's 5 years old. So he gets on stage and he's like kind of shy, but they're like, what's your name and stuff. And he answers a trivia question. And he gets a prize. I know what it looks like, but no, Kamen Rider is not proposing to my 5-year-old son. He's handing him a prize. My son wins a prize. I mean, my son was as excited as Chris Gray winning a Harley Davidson at this National SkillsUSA conference, which I didn't know about until I just saw in the video a couple minutes ago. That must have been an amazing moment, Chris. So my son wins this prize. And you know how it is when you're a kid. If you win a lollipop, you're just exploding with happiness. My son was glowing. He'd gotten called on. He went up, he raised both hands, he participated, and he won. And that's what I want. That's one of the things I want you to take from today, is to raise both hands. This week, you have the opportunity to be a part of something incredible. This type of virtual conference has never been done before. You have 4 days of competitions. And I don't know if you've seen the list of competitions. You have this opportunity in all these areas: leadership, tech skills. It is incredible. But you cannot sit back and let it happen. You got to jump in. I love it. Susan says your son looks so happy looking at his prize. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, Braden, Chris Gray motorcycle. Bam. Yes. So it's on you to participate. You're in your room. Your advisor can encourage it, but you got to be the one to step up. What does raising both hands mean? Well, you got to figure that out. Maybe it's a chat. Maybe it's an email. Maybe you're jumping in. And if you don't know how, or if you're a little unsure how to participate and raise both hands, ask, how can I? Ask your advisor. Connect with the people running the activity that you're doing, the chats. Be proactive, raise both hands, jump in. I love it. Finnegan says jump in. And Andrew, that guy on the drawing looks like he needs some help. I know, I didn't draw it. I just picked it out. All right. This is great. I'm loving the activity here. This is a good sign, you guys. We're kicking this week off. It's going to be a week like no other. Now, if you haven't participated in a virtual event like this before, if this is maybe your first time, I mean, everybody's done virtual events throughout the year. Your classrooms, your Zoom meetings, maybe you've had game nights with your family and stuff. Elise is checking in with how can I? Fantastic. Nicholas says jump in. But this might be the first time you're at an actual conference where there's like a ton of people involved. Well, I want to let you know, in case you don't, that the people behind the scenes have worked so hard to make this an experience that you will never forget. And you might wonder, well, how can you build that connection? How can you build that participation in a virtual world? Well, I'm going to put up a background here. If you recognize it, I want to see it in the chat. So if you recognize what this is, we have jumped into it. It's one of my favorite movies. I'd like to think it's recent, but sadly with my age, it's not so recent. But go ahead, if you know this background, put it in the chat. And I want to see who recognizes it. Well, Christopher Gray, you got it. I would expect that. Yep. Okay. I'm going to shout out Mr. B. Elias, you're awesome. Elias says The Matrix. Nicholas says The Matrix. Yes, The Matrix. This is a great movie, by the way. You guys, if you haven't checked this out, it holds up. The lessons are amazing. But we're going to jump into The Matrix here. And we're going to connect. And so here's what I want. I'm going to ask a series of questions. I'm going to ask a series of questions. Yes, we are going deeper, Nicholas. That's right. We're in The Matrix. I'm going to ask a series of questions here. Only the thing is, I will tell you what to type in the chat. I don't want you to type the answers in the chat because it'll take away from the full effect. You'll know what I mean in a second. Just go with me on this. Don't type the answers in the chat. I'll tell you what to type in the chat. So here we go, Skills USA. Where you are in a classroom or at home or whatever, think of a number between 1 and 10. Don't tell me what it is. Don't put it in the chat. Think of it, write it down, have it in your head. Do not put it in the chat because we don't want to, and the effect is going to be in a second, all right? So think of a number between 1 and 10. And Matt, if you want to help me here because you're controlling the chat, type in the chat for me, Matt. Type, think of a number between 1 and 10. That's the first step. And then what I want you to do, you might need a calculator. Maybe you're quick enough to do it in your head. I hope you are. Take your number, multiply it by 9. So Matt, if you would type multiply it by 9. So we thought of a number between 1 and 10. We multiplied it by 9. And then I actually want your input on this. I don't want your number, but when you multiplied it by 9, did you get a 1 or a 2-digit answer? Just type 1 or 2 for the digits in your answer. So we started with a number, we multiplied it by 9. Did you get a 1 or a 2-digit answer? And go ahead and put in the chat either 1 or 2 digits. Usually, people have gotten, yes, how many digits? 1 or 2. Okay, Elias has 2. Good. Elias, I really appreciate you jumping in here. This is awesome. You're the MVP so far. Okay. Celine has 2. Okay. Good. Enough people got 2. So you got a 2-digit number. Most people got 2. If you got a 1-digit answer, just put a 0 in front of it so you have 2 digits. Now, you got a 2-digit answer, SkillsUSA. Stick with me. Add the 2 digits together. So let's say you multiplied and you got 12. 1 plus 2 equals that. So you're going to have a sum. So Matt, you can write in the chat, add your 2 digits together. Now we're going somewhere on this. Stick with me. Once you get your sum, type sum in the chat. Just type the word sum, S-U-M, in the chat. So once again, we started with a number between 1 and 10. We multiplied it by 9. We got a 2-digit number. We added the 2 digits together. You got a sum. Stick with me. You guys are doing great. From the sum, subtract 5. From the sum, so Matt typed subtract 5. A lot of people getting sum. Nicholas, Elias, Matthew, Celine, Max, Connor. Good. You guys got your sum. Subtract 5 from the sum. And now you have an answer. You have an answer. Sum. People got sum. You're going to subtract 5. Now you got an answer. Now change your chat to the word answer. Type in answer in the chat. So once again, number between 1 and 10, multiplied it by 9, got a 2-digit answer. We add the 2 together. You got a sum, subtract 5. Now you get an answer. And then we're going to alphabetize the answer. Stick with me, Skills. We're almost there. If your answer is 1, you're going to take the letter A. If your answer is 2, you're going to take the letter B, and so on and so forth. Once you get your letter, type in letter. Don't type the letter. Type in L-E-T-T-E-R. You got the letter? We're almost there, guys. You're going to love this. You got the letter? So alphabetize your answer. Matt, you can type alphabetize your answer. And then the letter that you get, this is the hardest part for some people. But you have a phone maybe, or you have Google. Pick one of the 50 American states that begins with that letter. So Nicholas has letter, Celine has letter, Elias has letter, Elizabeth, let's see, Max, Braden, okay? A state that begins with that letter. And then focus on the second letter of that state. So Matt, if you have to type in, focus on the second letter. We're almost there, guys. Almost there. And then finally, think of an animal that begins with that second letter. Think of a land animal, not a water animal or one that flies. Think of a land animal. So Matt, if you want to type in, think of an animal that begins with the second letter. SkillsUSA, I want you to visualize the animal. Think of the color, picture the color, the size, the number of legs, number of tails. It's only going to have one tail. And once again, the color, the size, the animal, we did all this. And let's see. Wait a minute. SkillsUSA Vermont. I think I might have made a mistake. Get your fingers ready for a reaction, okay? I need you to type reactions on this. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, we're going to have to start over because there's no gray elephants in Delaware. You can't do it. There's no gray elephants in Delaware. So in the chat, did we get it right? Is that what you got? And if not, I want to see. Yes, who got it? Reaction. Well, I want to see your reaction. Exclamation points. Shock. Elias says, wow, wow, wow. How? Yes. I'm really glad, Elias. We got into your head. Now, I'm going to see. He knows mind control. Yes. I love that reaction. What? Susan, LOL. Andrew the Mandrew, you got a great name. Blue, wow, wow, wow. Lydia says, interesting. Lydia's just like, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, what's the point? Here's the point, guys. We did that virtually. When I do that with people, people are like, you got in my head. We did that on a screen. Now, you might not know magic. You might not know how to read people's minds. You might not know something like this, but here's the deal. This week, we talked about raising both hands. The second step, we were able to connect. This week, I want you to connect. You have this opportunity. If you are unsure how to connect, you got the question, how can I? You can talk with the advisor. Most of the time, most of the people here, if you're in a classroom, there's an advisor in your room, that advisor got you here. They have an idea of how to do all this stuff, of how to reach out, how to participate, how to jump in, how to raise both hands, and how to connect. So this week, I want to challenge you. Normally, we'd be in a hotel. This keynote would be in the conference room. It'd be filled with people. I could see your faces. And the hotel that you're in, you'd be limited to the people that's right in your network to connect with. There are no limits this week. You can connect with people that live 2 hours from you, 3 hours from you. It's online. All you have to do is reach out. So I want to challenge you specifically, connect with 3 people this week. You got 4 days. It's just at least 3, somebody that you don't know. Send a chat, send an email, connect online, and just reach out. And here, you can blame me. Here's what I want you to say. Just, hey, Joe said we have to connect. How's the conference going for you? That can be an easy thing. And if somebody reaches out, reach back out. Have open arms. That's what being a leader is meeting people where they are. You all have an incredible opportunity this week. I am so excited for you. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm going to see you popping in at a couple different events. And then we're going to revisit everybody right before the awards ceremony on Thursday. And I appreciate all of your participation in the chat. I want you to keep that conversation up. If you would like to connect with me, I am online on all of the socials, my website, email, all that. And I'm happy to support you with everything that you're doing. I wish you all the best of luck this week. Rock it out. Remember, raise both hands, jump in, connect, and keep that mindset. How can I? You are not alone. You got people around you. You got advisors around you. You got plenty of support. Let's type in one more, how can I? Let's get one more run of how can I and exclamation points, because at this moment in an in-person thing, we'd have everybody cheering and standing up. You might not be doing that in front of your computer. Jane Donahue Davis, so great to see you again. Fantastic. I love it. People are putting, I already followed Joe. Mind blown, Isabel. I think you figured it out. Thank you for putting the solution in. Christopher Gray, how can I? Yes. Blue, connect, jump. You guys are awesome. I'm going to jump off and turn it back over to everybody else. Thank you so, oh my gosh, I see how can I is just going in the chat. Good luck to all competitors. Connect, how can I? Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. You guys have a great week. Talk to you on Thursday.
I would like to re-invite Executive Director Christopher Gray back to the podium to provide protocols and safety reminders to the delegation.
Well, hello again, SkillsUSA Vermont. Hopefully you enjoyed that awesome presentation. I'm still trying to figure out how Joe knew the gray elephant was in Delaware. I don't know how he did it. I think that was terrific. How about you? What I'd like to do now is just to review with you, even though we're virtual, there are still some safety concerns that we need to be aware of as we go through our conference. Number one and foremost is, as you're visiting and participating in this conference using either Zoom or Google Meets or whatever platform the contest that you're in is using, please always be aware of your surroundings. If someone shows up or someone's name shows up on your screen and you don't know that person, make sure the contest manager or the other adult in the conference room with you is aware of it. Again, we're really concerned that people could access some of these open channels as you're competing, and there's nothing worse than you've already got the stress going on about the conference and the contest that you're doing, and then to have somebody unexpected show up in the room where you're presenting something. So please keep your eyes on that. And also please be mindful of your online behavior. Everything that you're putting out online, including what you put in the chat, is recorded. And we want you to have fun. That's part of this conference, but we also want to make sure that you're keeping it school appropriate. So tomorrow night and Wednesday night, we've got a couple of Discord servers set up for you, and the student officers have put a lot of work into putting games together. Please make sure that you use correct and appropriate internet protocols and school-based protocols when you're participating on those Discord servers. We would hate to have to shut them down for the poor behavior of a couple and ruin it for the larger group that's participating in this conference. Those are my two main safety concerns. If you're doing a skill event, as always, please follow the same safety protocols that you would be if this was in person. And what I mean by that is, if you're in close proximity with another competitor, just because of the way your lab is set up, make sure you're wearing a mask. Make sure you're using social distancing. Any of those things that we've learned throughout this quarantine and this COVID pandemic apply even though this conference is virtual. So please pay attention to those safety concerns. The other two things I want to bring up are technology related. If you have any questions relative to your contest or to your competition, please make sure that you email the name of the contest manager that's listed on the contest website. They're easy to find. You just go to the Vermont Skills USA website, click on contestant page. The password is champions21. And then once you're there, make sure that you click on the contest itself and it will tell you who the contest manager is. If you have any trouble uploading information to your contest folder, please make sure you email the contest manager. That way they'll know that you're trying and that things aren't working the way you thought they would. Technology is always going to be an issue. As long as we use technology correctly, you shouldn't run into any problems. Right now, what I'd like to do is give any students that are out there and listening, if you've got questions relative to your specific event, now would be the time to throw them in the YouTube chat. There's going to be a little bit of a delay, and so I'm watching the chat as I'm speaking, and if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask. The whole Skills USA staff is here, and we would love to answer those questions before closing off this ceremony. So just watching the chat, if you've got any questions, please throw them up there, and we will answer them right live here, and I will answer them verbally as well as type the answer into the chat. One thing I will mention, and again, I know there's a delay, is the Quiz Bowl, which is an event where we take teams of students basically playing a Jeopardy game, can be viewed If you click on the Quiz Bowl link in the contestant platform, you would be able to watch the Quiz Bowl while the students are participating. If that's something you're interested in doing, that's going to start right around 11 o'clock this morning, and that will go until roughly 12:30 this afternoon. Well, Isabella would like to know how much we like Parmesan cheese. I personally think it's a wonderful thing. Does the banner thing get sent to the school or to the winner? That's a great question, Julia. Thank you. The banner goes to the school and will get hung in your school. You, if you're a medalist, will get the medal mailed directly to you. You'll also get a certificate of participation and then a certificate if you're a medalist. Great question, Julia. All right. Well, unless there are any other questions. Oh, Blue Christian said Parmesan cheese. Just take bites of it. Well, there you go. But seriously, folks, if there are any additional questions, now is the time. This is your platform. We'd love to have you ask questions, because what I say to my students all the time is that if there's a question in your head, chances are that same question is in somebody else's head and they're just too afraid to ask it. So if you've got a question, and another sort of teacherism that I use all the time is there really is no such thing as a dumb question except the one that isn't asked. Because if you don't ask it, there's no way we can answer it. All right. Well, folks, I really hope you have a great conference and your competitions go well the way you hope they would. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to our state president, Miss Becca Davis, and she is going to close out this opening ceremony, and we'll take it from there. So thank you very much, and we'll see you at the competition.
All right. Hi, guys. I hope you had a great time today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I will get back to them for you. Also, I hope you have a great day and have fun at the competitions.